doing well. My name is Katie and I make book-related videos every single Wednesday, and today I have kind of a bonus video for you guys because as it's Halloween, I wanted to do something horror-related. Now you might be wondering, since I have such an obsession with horror and scary books, why I didn't film more Halloween themed videos this month, but I asked you guys which type of Halloween videos you wanted to see, and literally every single response for what people said they wanted, I've already filmed before. I've already done favorite horror novels, favorite horror movies, all that stuff, and I actually have a whole horror playlist on the front of my channel that I'll link up here as well. So I apologize there weren't more Halloween videos, but I've honestly just already filmed so many videos within that genre that I don't know if there's anything left. But one video I haven't filmed before is my favorite horror TV shows, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. I hope you'll find some you haven't heard of before, but so let's go ahead and get started. So my number one recommendation, and the reason I'm recommending this one as my number one, is because it's on right now. Season 1 started just a few weeks ago, and I feel like no one is watching the show, and it's really frustrating me because I'm personally worried for just selfish reasons that it's gonna get canceled because it's on a pretty bad airtime as well. But that is on Fox, and that is The Exorcist. Now in terms of a priest exorcising a girl, that's really the only similarity between this and The Exorcist the movie, but it's the story of a family whose daughter is possessed, and two priests, one who's sort of a young up-and-coming one who's very attractive, who's generally a very by-the-book priest, and there's another priest who's a bit older and he's more of a warrior than even a priest, and he has a lot of experience with exorcisms. They both come on to try and help this girl. I can honestly say that this is the scariest horror TV show I've ever seen before. I think it's much creepier than things like American Horror Story that rely much more just on straight up gore. This one is so unsettling and creepy. The production value is so good. I think it's on like Friday nights on Fox, which is a really bad airtime, so just not a lot of people are watching it. So again, if you're gonna watch anything on this list, check out The Exorcist. My next recommendation is Penny Dreadful. This is, I think there's 3 seasons out, I'm not positive, but if you like classic horror or gothic horror, I think this one would be wonderful for you. It takes place in, I want to say, the 1800s, late 1800s, I'm not positive, but it brings to life, say, Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, I think Dorian Gray as well. So all of your classic horror characters kind of come together for this show. The acting and the effects in this are just A+ value, just amazing. I have not seen the most recent season, not for any particular reason, so I really need to go ahead and watch that. My next recommendation, I wasn't even sure if I was going to put this in here because I dislike a lot of the seasons, and I'm sure you guys have already heard of this and seen it if you like horror, but I just figured I'd mention it anyway, and that is American Horror Story. Now the only reason I actually wanted to talk about this, because again, I'm sure you guys have heard of it, is just because I wanted to talk about which seasons I liked and which seasons I thought were really shitty. So I really enjoyed season 1, Murder House. I liked season 2, Asylum, although it started to have that case where it was just too many plot lines and too many characters, but I did still enjoy season 2, and then I am really enjoying the most recent season, Roanoke. I feel as if he's really listened to fans when we've said, you know, the past seasons have too many characters, too many storylines with loose ends. This one feels much scarier and creepier than past seasons. I despised Freak Show. I really didn't like Hotel. Whatever the witch season was, season 3, I thought was kind of blah and forgettable. So yeah, definitely check out seasons 1, 2, and 6 if you haven't. Next is Stranger Things. This is a combination of horror / sci-fi, and I'm not even going to talk about this because I assume you all have already seen it. If you haven't, I don't know what you're doing. Everybody else has. Now this next one you guys might not have heard of before, and that is Salem on the channel. I think it's like a Chicago-based channel called WGN. I'm not positive, but I think the first 2 seasons are on Netflix. Now I don't think this one is as good as, say, The Exorcist or Penny Dreadful or Stranger Things. I would say this is on par with, say, American Horror Story, where it's kind of a little out there and strange, and it's not an A+ quality show in terms of the writing, but it is just a ton of fun. It basically takes place, not surprisingly, back in Salem. The main character, female, is a witch. It's definitely quite gory and gross, so don't watch this if you're not a fan of that kind of stuff. But this is sort of a guilty pleasure horror show, I would say. It's not, again, the most wonderful show on television, but if you like Salem and horror, it's a lot of fun. So next set of shows is more so serial killer related or just slightly creepy. It's not straight up horror, but I still thought I'd recommend these to you guys since I think you guys might not have heard of a lot of these. So the first one is The Fall, and this is a really good one to marathon because even though there are 3 seasons out now on Netflix, there's only 5 or 6 episodes a piece. but it's basically told from the point of view of a serial killer and the cop who is chasing him. So the serial killer basically is strangling all of these women in Ireland. The actor is that guy from 50 Shades of Grey, Jamie Dornan, and then the detective chasing him is Gillian Anderson from X-Files. And can I just say, I'm a straight female, but Gillian Anderson, I don't know what it is. I was never attracted to her in X-Files, but her in this show, she's making me lean kind of far in the Kinsey scale. Next is a miniseries, and I wish another season was coming out, but I don't think we're gonna ever get one, and that is Top of the Lake. And I watched this a couple years ago, so I'm a little fuzzy on it, but I believe it takes place in New Zealand, I wanna say, but it's the story of a 12-year-old girl at school, and they find out first that she's pregnant, and so they're trying to figure out how the hell did that happen, and then pretty immediately she disappears. So then we have this female detective, I think it's Elizabeth Moss, I think that's the actress's name. She's from this town, but she has quite a horrific history because of something that happened to her there, but she finally comes back in order to try and solve this case. This has to be one of my favorite, if not my favorite miniseries of all time. It's so gripping. I watched this within, I think, 2 days with my friends in undergrad. It's just fantastic. And finally, I wanted to recommend True Detective, but only season 1. Now, unfortunately, I don't think we're ever gonna get a season 3 just because season 2 was not great. I personally wasn't a fan. I know a lot of people weren't as well. But True Detective season 1 has Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. They're two very polar opposite cops who are trying to solve this very strange murder case. Woody Harrelson's kind of your average guy, and then you have Matthew McConaughey, who just goes on these strange ramblings that are so dark but also really interesting about the world. So seeing their interaction is, I think, what made this show so good. But again, I didn't like season 2, but season 1 is one of my favorite series of a show of all time. So those are all of my horror or slightly creepy shows. I was also going to talk about Black Mirror, but I don't know if that was really relevant for this video, but that's a good one as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any other horror shows that I didn't mention and you think people would like, make sure to leave them down below. I hope you guys have a great Halloween, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.